Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param. Om Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Okay, we we have seen in the yesterday's class the structure of Vedanta teachings, beginning from the discipline of Kama Yoga, Dharma, observance of Dharma, and then meditation to bring focus, one pointedness to the mind, and then manana to remove any doubts regarding the teachings, and then shravana to listen, of course, manana to remove the doubts. We can infer and understand how important it is vipassana or meditation to take care of the extroverted mind, the mind who's scattered all over the place, because you're going to enter now to a more serious level of listening to the teaching. So if the mind is jumping all over, you're gonna get only small fractions, it's scattered like small bits and bits, fragments of the teachings that later on it's difficult to glue it together to develop the vision. So we have seen it all yesterday. And then the importance of manana, to do a review of the teachings until we have a doubtless understanding of what the scriptures are pointing to. So we go that way until the knowledge has that element of firm conviction or certainty of conviction. On another, from a different angle, that knowledge has begin fructify as an experience. Okay, so you're experiencing from Aham Brahmasmi. It's not that you're experiencing Brahman because you are Brahman, but now your life is being translated as transformed. So because you start experiencing life from the clear and firm internalized understanding that my nature, my true identity is limitless conscious existence. That is the experiential element that became more clear to me in the last few years or months. So that I always had this feeling that there was an experiential part, and the experience is every experience is an experience of consciousness of the self. The self is experiencing itself. How so? It's experience superimposition of Namarupas upon itself. Fundamentally, it's experience itself once it understands that the Namarupas are false superimpositions. So I'm experiencing myself, but I'm seeing myself colored by the Prakriti of Maya. So that is the element, that is the fructification, something that you start, you start living that, you start, experiencing that. That distinguish the informative knowledge from internalized knowledge, or indirect self-knowledge from direct self-knowledge. And then Swami also touched the subject, the topic of developing new habits, new vasanas. So we got it on the conscious mind. We got it. We have no doubts anymore on my conscious mind. But how about my unconscious mind, my subconscious mind? Or in the causal body, I have still a load of impressions that are somehow challenging the knowledge I have gained in my conscious mind, and then my conscious mind say, I am the nature of limitless consciousness, not the body mind. The Vasana are going to say, no, 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 no. You are the nature of Prakriti, you know. So we need to develop new habits. We need to say new vrittis, new vasanas. No? So those are the 5 stages of sadhanas. We go until, uh, and some people they come already more developed, more mature, and they go faster through these 5 levels of sadhanas, or they may begin already from stage 2 or 3. Depending on one's spiritual development. Those are the spiritual prodigies, people who are spiritual geniuses, extraordinarily developed. They have gone through lots of sadhanas in previous births. And it's so easy to understand this, you know. We have come to this birth with spiritual vasanas, otherwise we would never it would never have come across the teachings of the Upanishads. So somehow our Prarabdha moved in that direction because we had those tendencies that kind of surged, you know, and we are born like that. And some other people in the same family, such as my brothers, they were born in the same family, the same culture, the same time, you know, but yet without any spiritual development. Okay, just ego trying to prove itself to be worth it by have success in the world. So what makes that difference but our, you know, vasanas, our predispositions, our tendencies, propensities, which are kept in the individual soul from birth to birth. When we have these vasanas from early age, from early stage, early age, there are some signs. They usually the parents do not notice, and the children much less. But there are some things there that somehow start sniffing and looking around and saying, I'm not sure about that, you know? I'm not sure that this world is going to make me happy. But seeing those people, I should not argue that I am me too, I'm a highly developed soul. Okay. He keeps repeating this concept. Uh, some seekers need to start from Karma Yoga, and they require to go through all these stages. Why? Because there are a lot of likes and dislikes, raga and devotion, attraction and repulsion, and disturbing the mind emotionally, producing karma, krodha, and many other disturbance, emotional disturbance. And as we remember, the Karma Yoga includes 2 stages, Sakama and Niskama. No? Some people may start right away as a Karma Yoga on the second stage. You know, they are not self-centered. They just feel like, no, I need to do things to serve the Lord. And I'm serving the Lord by serving the field, you know, the Dharma, serving life. Huh? So some people have to begin from the level number 1. Some people they don't begin this process. They stay outside fully materialistic and without no concern to others. They want at any cost. They don't want to add value to life. They just want to extract value, to use some words of Ramji. And then on the second level, you want to give more and take less. So, at least 50-50, And then from there we go on Vipassana. Again, Vipassana, we have two stages as well. One deity, or you're just going to meditate upon Ishvara as the supreme source of everything, or it's the supreme knowledge manifesting as the entire cosmos, the totality of all constitutions or configurations of objects. Shvara Jiva Jagata. Some people come with a very refined mind, a very integrated mind, and they are naturally not interested in material things. They may start right away from Upasana or even Shravana. And that is indicated by Anya Sankhya Yogana. The word Sankhya indicates the third and fourth stage. Did you look into, I missed this one. Did you translate this one? Anya Sankhya Yogana?
I believe it just means that others come through the path of knowledge, intellectual discrimination, and spiritual discipline, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Third stage is what? Here we go. Sankhya refers to Shravana and Manana, and there are some rare people who have gone through all, even Shravana and Manana, in previous births. Lord Krishna discussed that in the 6th chapter. This person gets some sambandha with Purva previous births. I forgot sambandha, preparedness, maturity.
Connection or relationship, I think.
Association, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Get sambandha with previous births. Even the person does not know how so he got in contact with these teachings. For those people, they require to go through only the final stage, which is Jnana Aktimani, which is Nididhyasana, most probably. So Jnana refers to Nididhyasana, yes, the final stage, which is just a reinforcement, reassertion of what they already had in their subconscious mind. Some people believe that our mind is completely raised from birth to birth, and there are some conspiracy theories that they say that some entities are there malignantly erasing, the memory so that we come back ignorant again, so that we can be controlled and manipulated and so on. But these people do not understand that the entire mind includes the subconscious and the unconscious mind. So nothing is completely lost, okay? There are some reasons to my take why we forget those conscious memories. In general, unless somebody is a little psychic or yogi, we don't access. We may access here and there, but whatsoever we develop, our development is never lost. This knowledge is never lost. It becomes a deposit retained in our subconscious mind, and it comes to surfacing as our predisposition, our tendencies, our propensities for this or that. So that is how we hold this knowledge. It was held and kept in the subconscious mind. You must forget that you are someone like this or like that living here and there, because when you come back, you may get confused. If you, oh, I was that, now I'm this, and then, oh my God, I got married, and my husband was my father in the last life. Oh, this is intriguing and this is confusing again. So, Nididhyasana. In one of the Upanishads, Aitareya Upanishad, it talks about Rishi Vanadeva, who declared Aham Brahmasmi in the womb of the mother. This is a nice story. Of course, it's mythological. It's not really something literal. It's symbolic. The soul is so advanced that it just comes out of the womb and immediately says Aham Brahmasmi, a little babe of less than a few hours. Just imagine. And then there is the story of the babe who, instead of saying Aham Brahmasmi, says, oh no, not again, not again. You know the story already. No? uh, So how come this baby could say Aham as me? The mother was not self-realized. The mother did not, and the baby is coming out of the mother. So how? From where? It's a totally different deal business. It's not genetic in that sense. It's one soul. Uh, So we see our tendencies or predispositions from the scientific angle as genetics. Genetics is a byproduct of our tendencies, propensities, and predispositions. Those are going to build a certain genetics, and this genetic is going to find resonance with some parents rather than others. But fundamentally, the child is a soul totally on its own, independent, with these spiritual tendencies, with spiritual knowledge that somehow required him to come back to have another round. And then he said, oh, it's okay. I remember Aham Brahmasmi. The mother did not understand, of course. So that child mostly did 95% of his spiritual work in previous births. So therefore, he just needs to remember. Yeah. There are so many things in the spiritual supermarket, let's say, or in spiritual circles, suggestions, people trying to present new ideas by which some people may realize what they are, no? And some people may say, just remember who you are, remember. Vedanta also points in that direction, stays with the teaching, keep remembering who you are, what you are. But you can tell people, remember. If the person is not mature enough, at the most, it's going to create a habit to say, Aham Brahmasmi, but never really reaping the fruits of that real knowledge, but superficially may say Aham Brahmasmi. That is the repetition, a mantric repetition that a lot of people do. You have to remember that in our tradition, the children used to go to the gurukulas to memorize the teachings from the age of 7 to 14, and then they would become parrots. We saw some of that there in Ramana Ashram. And then from the age of 14 to the 21, they're going to study what they have memorized to see if they can understand the meaning. So we need to understand, assimilate, and internalize, and have that knowledge transforming the way we relate to the body, mind, and the world. Verse 26, not knowing thus, some others pursue self-knowledge by hearing from others. Being committed to listening, they also definitely, surely cross over mortality into immortality. So if we are born is because this knowledge is not properly assimilated and integrated. No? So we are not sure or we do not know. And then we have this attraction towards people who are going to talk about the self, talk about God and so on, talk about self-inquiry and self-knowledge. So this is the Shravana, hearing from others, being committed to Shravana, listening. So if you begin from listening, and then it means to say that you may or may not need to go through Karma Yoga and Upasana. May not. More often than not, we begin by listening. I was having a conversation with someone. I said most of people, they get in contact with self-knowledge, with self-inquiry, by listening, by hearing someone saying these final declarations of the Upanishads, some of these Mahavakyas, you are limitless consciousness, all there is consciousness. We hear that, and somehow that resonates. And then we want to hear more. We say, oh, this is wonderful music. This is satsang. I feel good when I listen to those declarations. No? So, but what happens to my observation is that most people keep listening. No? But then one depends to listening to it to somehow have a better experience of itself, of oneself and the world. The moment we suspend the listening, and then we realize that did not make much progress. So it means what? It means that we need to step back, which is something that most people, especially in the West, do not want to do, and be a good Karma Yogi. Like Krishna said to Arjuna, be a Karma Yogi, So begin as a Karma Yogi, and just dedicate everything to the Lord. Understand that you have no control and take everything as a gift. And then Upasana to clear some other impurities, as we have seen in yesterday's class. And then the listening is much more potent, with much greater potential, to trigger self-knowledge, because now you have focus and you are not emotionally disturbed, mentally you're not disturbed, so you are present, listening to the teachings, and then there is much more potential. So some people genuinely it's difficult to imagine it. I have some conversations to imagine someone who comes to this world at this time in the West, especially, and say, "I don't need devotion. I don't need Karma Yoga. I don't need to know about Dharma. I don't need to know about Upasana. I just need to do Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana." Okay, it's difficult to imagine, and Swami Paramarthananda has been pointing very strong to that direction, meaning that according to Vedanta, for self-knowledge to be established to the extent of transforming one's experience in life, one must be above all a religious seeker, a religious spiritual seeker. you need to have devotion in your heart, because without devotion, you are not going to reap the fruits. The fruits you're going to reap as a sense of love, devotion, reverence to life and to everybody, respecting everything, appreciating everything. That comes from devotion. Huh? If you're not experienced that, it means that you're not really reaping. So therefore, in the West now, they should say that some people say, I don't need Kama Yoga, I don't need this, I don't need devotion. I just need a hum brahmasmi. I just do the final self-investigation, self-inquiry. And I hear people say that in my Brazilian Sangha. By hearing from others, being committed to listening, being prepared to listening, being purified to listening, they will definitely cross over mortality. Here, Krishna points out that Vedanta Shravanam need not necessarily be the studies of the original scriptures themselves. Now, Swami is going to present this because the Swami is studying this from the commentaries of Adi Shankara, because otherwise one may interpret this in different ways, and then he wants to know how our tradition has been interpreting this verse. If you start looking at Gita from different traditions, for example, are going to interpret this verse differently as well. But here in our Sampradaya, it's point to something else. It's to point to the fact that you may get this knowledge and therefore cross over from mortality to immortality by listening from people, even if it's not the complete teaching, just some bits and pieces of it. You are committed to listening. Everything is consciousness. You are consciousness. You are free, limitless, independent, conscious existence, and so on. So we listen to those final teachings, and a lot of people they present this. A lot of people, I mean, what characterize a Vedanta teacher is that in our tradition we present the entire body of teaching. Yeah? But for example, when we study Mahavakya, Upanishad, yeah, we are only dealing with Yin Yoga, for example. Let's do this Upanishad. That Upanishad very well touches Karma, Dharma, Upasana. Is only inquiry, analyzing logic, re-examining and following the logic. So we also have some course that do not deal with Karma, Dharma, Upasana. Yeah? But we say that one needs to be prepared to go to the Upanishads, and that is not the same. People love to listening to the song of the Mahavakyas of Vedanta, but more often than not, for different reasons, one does not go through Kama Yoga, devotion, and Upasana. No? And here, Krishna, according to our tradition, is pointing out that you don't need to study the scriptures, all the scripture, the original scripture, the entire body of teaching. Some people, may get the knowledge by small bits and pieces here and there. You don't need to study one by one those scriptures which are within our suggested program. If you are highly developed, you just need to go through a few teachings. And even the Gita will do the job, because there is plenty of Mahavakyas in the Gita itself. So we do not insist, say Swamiji, upon what text. We insist upon the content, the teachings. And therefore, if there is a guru who does not teach Vedanta in the original structured way, presenting the basic text, and then the modern texts such as Panchadasi, Viveka Chudamani, among others, and so on, and then slowly move to some Upanishads, and then here and there some Brahma Sutras. So we don't need to go through everything. I mean, we have the Gita, for example, which is a condensation of the entire Vedas, because the only thing that the Gita does not address are the ritualistic portions of the Vedas, but besides that, it addresses, nearly anything, everything. And then it addresses Jnana Yoga, and then address, there are a lot of instructions direct from the Upanishads in the Gita as well, so it's a condensation of the entire Vedas. That should be enough, you know. The essence of the teachings is there in the Gita. And you don't need to learn Sanskrit. And you don't need to get a traditional Vedanta teacher, neither, or either. You don't need to get in contact with any of these books. If you listen to someone presenting, parts or fragments of these teachings, that may do the job. Can be any language, Portuguese, Russian language, Chinese language. Even in India, there are so many different dialects or different language there. In every one of them, we find the teachings of Vedanta. So the ultimate teachings is that you are the nature of consciousness, existence, the only reality. Everything else is just a superimposition upon you as consciousness. You are whole, full, and complete, and so on, because there is only one you. Any language can present these teachings. But there is always a but. When I was in the last few years, when I went back to India, inspired by Vedanta and by the fact that Ramji was going there, doing some seminars, I got in contact with different, that is a huge supermarket of satsangs, all kinds of satsangs. And then I met different people. I used to go there only to be curious. I'm talking about the best, the better ones, not those, those that are really, 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 delusional. But there are some that were a little bit better. They would say, you are consciousness, you are consciousness, you are limitless, you are this, you are that, and the bliss, and there's some experiential thoughts about what you are, and so on. And then, so if you don't understand that, you just need to meditate. But the meditation, it was not a meditation based on a body of knowledge. It was not a meditation supported by a body of teachings, that are going to allow the individual to find intellectual conviction as in respect to that which is being said. You are consciousness and it feels wonderful to be conscious. Meditate. And then people would meditate in silence, want to create a silent mind and remember, I am consciousness, I am consciousness. So I became critical about most of these proposals because I did not feel that they had the power to remove self-ignorance. Okay. But if someone is really qualified, even a bad teacher may help. You are highly qualified. You go there, you sit, and then you see all these people for 15, 20 minutes listening. You are this, you are this, it feels good. Blah, blah, blah. And then, you fully remember and then you are done. Okay. So it all depends on the level of the seeker. So A lot of people get self-knowledge. There are some people who get self-knowledge not through our original scriptures. So what is the most fundamental original scripture? The Upanishads. Yeah. So, and then we have the Gita, and then we have our modern texts. When we say modern in Vedanta, it means to say 1,000, 1,500, 800 years ago, you know. So some people may get this knowledge from some bits and pieces of it due to one's preparedness. There are all kinds of acharyas here and there. Some of them have studied a little bit of Vedanta teachings, and they are capable of paraphrasing and making somehow a well-arranged communication in whatsoever language. So that happens in India as well. Even in the folk songs, there is the truth, Vedanta, Upanishads being sang. You know, I have been enjoying a lot of these mantras present as music. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I remain like that. Wow, you know, how do they have these songs in India, all talking about the ultimate reality? You know, it's unbelievable. It's so beautiful. They keep chanting, repeating scriptures, scriptures, scriptures upon Upanishad, the entire Upanishad in this beautiful song with beautiful melody. I'm going to share with you guys some of these because it creates a nice environment, seeing that the truth is so well preserved even through music and art. You have these songs that the mothers use to put the babe to sleep as well in some place. So you find these teachings embedded in the Hindu society. It does not matter how you get the knowledge. So what matters is to get the knowledge, even if you were not subject to, you did not submit yourself to the entire body of knowledge. If you have it already in your causal body, you may get it. And then later on you want to go back and see, understand a little bit the source of this knowledge, from where it comes and so on, you know. One thing that has been amazing me is I have been looking through a lot of different expressions lately of different teachers, gurus, you know. I'm not talking about the New Advaita, I'm saying gurus from India. You know? And what is amazing to see is that they all know that these teachings coming from Vedanta Upanishads. It's you know, so Nisargadatta, Ramana, Siddha Rameshwara, which was the teacher of Nisargadatta, and most of the people who were sages from India, Ananda Maya as well, they all know about this teaching. They know where these teachings come from. There is nothing really new, you know? There's nothing really new. But that necessarily does not means to say that they are Vedanta teacher, but they present the knowledge, knowing that the source of knowledge is the Upanishad, which is revealed knowledge. Knowing the content, any thinker can study the Upanishad by any teacher who delivers bits and pieces of it and be liberated. But if the person, on the other hand, know all the Upanishads, not bits and pieces of it, he gained all the knowledge of all Upanishads by listening to real Vedanta teacher who teaches everything. He's studying all the Upanishads, but did not understand the content. Yeah. So the person is not liberated. So it's all a question of the assimilation of the content, what is being delivered. And you do not need the entire body of knowledge if you are highly qualified. Therefore, Krishna says, in his own mind, in his own mother tongue, the person can get this knowledge. He does not need to go to India and learn Sanskrit. Follow the sadhana of understanding and assimilating. And Krishna says, even those people who are Shruti Parayana, who are committed to the words of the Guru, will get it. Yeah, and here there is another element. So, as you know, the Guru before Vedanta that most inspired me was Nisargadatta Maharaj. And I was so impressed, so devoted, so in love with the power of his words that I had total trust, I had total shraddha and total confidence in my guru at the time. And that is somehow enough, even if you are getting bits and pieces of the Upanishad teachings, not always well arranged, but somehow your commitment, may take you there or may take you here. One may not be exposed to all words of the scriptures. People do not even know, but they are committed to the words of the Guru, and this is Shraddha, trust. We say have Shraddha in the scripture Guru package as presented by Vedanta. But if you don't have a Vedanta Guru, and if the Guru is trustworthy, you just be committed to the words of Guru, believe it, take it, and then be inspired by it. When Nisargadatta Maharaj met his Guru was living far away and he was visiting Mumbai here and there once in a while. A friend of Nisargadatta invited him to go to see this Guru, and he met the Guru and he developed a total trust and confidence that the Guru was genuine, and it hit him very, very strongly, and he stayed committed to the words of his Guru, which were few instructions here and there given, passed on here and there. He followed the instructions, and the rest is history. So the declarations of the Guru, Vakya Shravana, Parayanaha. The Guru, Vakya Shravana, listen to the Guru, even if it's not a Vedanta Guru. It's better to have a Vedanta Guru, but it's not available to have any Guru who is going to genuinely, a Guru who is self-realized, and Guru who is honest, commit to the truth, commit to the well-being of the seekers and so on. So that may be enough. You need Shraddha. You need trust in the Guru and his words. In this case, the Guru, the disciple has got so much Shraddha in the Guru, that he may realize it. The guru is going to inspire the disciple, and sometimes the inspiration is so potent that the disciple never gives up. Such committed students will certainly cross mortality, will cross finitude, the otherwise called samsara. They will attain self-knowledge and moksha. So this is a broad vision. So there are many ways by which you can cross this ocean of samsara. Even if in the old days Veda was not accessible to all people, they kept some of the scriptures secret for some reasons. But even though the originals were not accessible to all, the content of the scriptures were accessible to all people at all the times, whether the person is whatsoever caste in India, whatever ashram the person is living, whether it's a female, male, whatever religion. So this knowledge, it leaked all over. So in also science, there is some elements of this knowledge. The foundation is love, devotion towards God, because God is the self, and you are the self. You are not the body mind. This base you find everywhere, you find everywhere. That's why long ago, I once I was having a moment with Ramji, and I told him that my understanding that all spiritual knowledge has its base on the Upanishad, on Vedanta, is the source. The Veda is the source of all spiritual knowledge that somehow, express itself through all religious philosophies. I'm talking about pure spirituality, not mysticism. Mysticism is a different deal. What liberates is not the traditional teachings of the Veda, but is the content of the teachings of the Vedas. Even if one does not study the Vedas, one may get liberation. Krishna declares, verse 27, whatever being, moving being or stationary being, is born, know that to be out of the union of k.etram and k.etrajña, or Arjuna. So now he changed the subject a little bit. He's talking about, after having spoken about the different stages of sadhanas, yeah? So now let's see what Swami is going to say. He's pointing another direction. Again, he's bringing us back to understand that everything in this manifestation is a mixture of spirit and matter / energy. Yeah? It's a kind of union. Kshetran and k.etrajña is Purusha and Prakriti. Everything in this universe is a mixture of Purusha and Prakriti, or Arjuna. And beings, sentient beings, insentient beings, moving beings, or stationary beings, everything that exists is a mixture, a union of both. In the previous two verses, like Krishna pointed out, that everybody has to go through different stages to reach Atmayana. You can only get to Atmayana by means of knowledge. Atmayana. Everybody is this Atma, is the supreme self, supreme being. But the ignorance, compel us to suffer by identifying us with our apparent nature, the mortal nature as the body. So everybody has to come to self-inquiry and self-knowledge, okay? Atma Vichara and Atmayana is the final destination, the culmination of all spiritual processes. The purification of the mind goes through those different levels of yoga, different types of activities and sadhanas. We have many choices, what kind of sadhanas, what kind of different approach, what kind of techniques in meditation, and different versions of what Kama Yoga may be. Some people present Kama Yoga as selfless service, charity work, and so on. So that is one of the many aspects of Kama Yoga. But at the end, everything should go and become like a funnel, and then bringing us to Atma Vichara and Atmayana. That's why Swami Dayananda beautifully says, a temple might have many doors, but there is only one door leading to the final image of the Lord. When you enter in the last compartment of the temple, there you find the Lord. Similarly, for preparation, many doors are there, many paths, many sadhanas, but for moksha, there is only a self-knowledge, or self-realization, or God realization. There is only one door, which is knowledge. Krishna mentioned in the previous two verses, naturally, we will have a question. So why do we insist on jnana? Why Vedanta is so fixated with the idea that Jnana Yoga is the final destination of all seeker? If the final destination is jnana, why, on the other hand, Vedanta suggests that we do a lot of sadhanas which are not self-inquiry? So if the final step is Jnana Yoga, why to suggest Kama Yoga, Dhamma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Shravana Yoga? So it looks as though we are adamant, we are fanatics. Why are we so insistent with jnana? Krishna says it's not fanaticism or adamance, but that happens to be a fact. If I say darkness can be removed only by light, it's not a fanaticism. It's not a fixation. Yeah, it's not something that now I'm a radical. I'm saying that no other path is going to produce self-knowledge. I cannot have comprise or consideration. You can remove darkness with a broomstick. Yeah, Dhananda likes to play with that. You get the broom and then you remove the darkness from your room. So we have a power outbreak, yeah? Outrage, and then you need to remove the darkness. You're gonna use your broom? No, not possible. You need to bring some sort of knowledge. And that does not mean light. That does not mean that I'm narrow-minded. It's just, it's a fact. Darkness will go only by light. So if still you charge me with fanaticism, Dayananda used to say that better be a fanatic rather than a lunatic, one of the most important mantras of Swami Dayananda. And why do we say that this is a fact? Krishna says because samsara is caused by self-ignorance, an error. What is an error? An error, as we know, is to take the body to be the self. My true nature, my true identity is the body. I am Purusha and I'm taking the superimposition of the Prakriti to be myself. But I am the self, the pure spirit, consciousness. But my apparent nature is this superimposition. I take the superimposition and I miss my nature's Purusha. And it is understandable to a certain extent because this Purusha is so invisible, is so essential, is so fundamental, is so, penetrating everything that is somehow it appears as hidden behind everything. Okay, we cannot access it because we see the Namarupas, but we don't see Purusha, we don't see God. And people believe that devotees are a little bit lunatic because they have love and devotion for something that do not exist. Do not exist. Why? Because it's not visible to the five senses and the mind. You need to see it in a totally different way, and that makes people, the materialist people, believe that the devotees of the Lord are just deluded people. They will never understand. They are not sophisticated. They don't have the sensitivity, the capacity to perceive the Lord, perceive Purusha, perceive, what is behind holding this manifestation, sustaining, So there is this ignorance, which is somehow understandable. It's not easy to perceive Purusha. We begin perceiving it intellectually, but later on we have to perceive it directly. And then when we know that we perceive it directly, when our heart, so to speak, start feeling love and appreciation for everything, because you see everything as consciousness, as God, the only reality. This is God realization, which is another way to say self-realization, because God is the self, the only reality. Krishna says, because of samsara is caused by ignorance, I am Purusha, this is a fact. And most people are ignorant about Purusha is not female or male. Purusha, as we know, is the spirit, is the nothing conscious existence, is free from guna, is the only source of consciousness or sentience, is free from any change or modification, meaning to say is beyond birth and death. No? It's the only reality. Reality is that which is always ever present, never disappearing here and there, not even during the pralaya, the supposed concept of pralaya. Purusha, aham, that is my true nature. But this fact is ignorant, but most people are ignorant of it. We have a fundamental, huge, collective ignorance problem. And we want to address this problem, we need to bring in knowledge. But knowledge alone is not enough. We need to bring the knowledge to satisfy the self-conscious intellect, and then we need to bring in the blessing, the blessings of the Lord, the grace of the Lord. Okay, we need to invoke it. And how we invoke it? By developing this vision of the Lord, the all-pervasive Lord, that which is holding each one of us, allowing us to experience this appearing duality until we can understand what is behind all of that. So we need to invoke the grace of the Lord as well. And as we know, grace does not fall by mistake or by a chance. We need to invoke, and this is what we gain from being a good karma yogi. We're going to convert our human emotions in this most sublime emotion, which is appreciation, love, reverence, and devotion towards the Creator. Because I cannot, anybody saying something? No. Because I cannot access or sense or perceive this Purusha, but I can see the Prakriti. I can see my material, energetic nature. So how am I going to identify with myself as a spirit, as consciousness, as Purusha? Because I don't know Prakriti, I don't know Purusha, my only other alternative is to identify as I am the Prakriti body. No? It seems to be almost cruel, but that is the game of life. You just see what is tangible, dense, more gross, such as the physical body, and a little less dense and gross, you see the subtle body, the mind, the memories, emotions, and all of that. And then by experiencing the subtle and the physical material world, not finding satisfaction by experiencing those two levels of this duality, we begin searching for something which is subtler than the subtle. So I want to be happy. I want full peace and satisfaction. I haven't got satisfaction by chasing things of this world, this Prakriti world. There must be something else, something that's going to make me full and complete. And this is something that it somehow emerged in some souls here and there. Subconsciously, we start just trying to find our way into Purusha, the only reality, which is another name for the self in all beings. Okay, is everybody good for tomorrow?
Wednesday, not Friday?
Friday, I'm traveling, and
Okay.
tomorrow is better for me. Thursday will
Okay.
be almost impossible because I'm going to be getting things together. Uh, we meet tomorrow at the same time, okay?
Very good.
Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Om Lord.
Thank you
Namaste.
so much.
Thank you, my dear, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Thanks, Arlindo. Okay, see you tomorrow.
See you.